Assalamu alaikum, my name is Sara. I am from the Rise Up for Sudan Coalition, a youth group directed at the liberation of my country, Sudan, along with the shared liberation of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم عليه الصلاة والسلام رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we stand here today in absolute outrage to condemn the 300 days of brutal genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. The genocide is happening in Palestine, but it's manufactured right here in the United States of America. Shame! For the past 300 days, we've seen our Palestinian brothers and sisters' blood all over the streets on our screens, and we've seen their blood right here in the US on our nation's hands. Shame! We stand here because we refuse to remain silent in the face of such cruelty and in the face of injustice. The genocide of Palestinians in Gaza committed by Israel and backed by the United States has been the bloodiest genocide of the 21st century. Shame! And in Sudan, the war waged by the UAE-funded militia on the bodies of women and children has resulted in the worst displacement crisis in shame. Over 186,000 Palestinians were murdered in Gaza, and over 150,000 were murdered in Sudan. Shame! Almost the entire population of Gaza has been displaced because of the indiscriminate bombing. And in Sudan, 10 million were displaced because of the RSF militants' terror. Shame! In Palestine, the hostages were raped by dogs trained by the Israeli occupation forces. And in Sudan, women were gang raped in front of or alongside their own daughters and sons. Shame! In Gaza, they've had to bury mass graves of victims of missile strikes on hospitals. And in Sudan, the graveyards of refugee shelters are expanding every day because of the children dying of starvation. Shame! Brothers and sisters, this brutal and indiscriminate killing of the children, women, and men of Gaza has been perpetual for the past 300 days. I ask you, are you enraged? I said, are you enraged? They have beheaded hundreds of Palestinian children and amputated thousands more. Are you enraged? Palestinian pregnant women have had to give birth in the corridors of hospitals without anesthesia. Are you enraged? Palestinian hostages have been gang raped to the point of paralysis. Are you enraged? An autistic Down syndrome sweet man was torn apart by IOF dogs as he patted the dogs' heads, pleading them to stop. Are you enraged? Children who once dreamed of becoming doctors or soccer players now only wish to die, to end their suffering or to unite with their dead parents. I ask again, are you enraged? Now wear that rage proudly. I wear my rage proudly, because indifference is the language of the complicit, but rage is the language of the humane. It is our humanity that unites us here today, and it is our humanity that will lead us to a free Palestine. And let me tell you something, Palestine is almost free. Netanyahu dared to say, and I quote, America and Israel must stand together. When we stand together, something really simple happens. We win, they lose. And by win, he means the complete vicious annihilation of the Palestinian people. Shame! But we tell them this, their empire of torment was not defeated now, nor was Netanyahu defeated recently. They were defeated the moment they invaded Palestine. The moment they declared themselves colonizers and oppressors was the moment their defeat became imminent. we know that every oppressor falls, every pharaoh drowns, every Goliath is stoned, every empire of torment is burnt to the ground. So go on, freedom fighters, be brave, and don't let these Zios water down your voices. Rather, let us be the wave, the tsunami that will drown their tyranny, drown their oppression, and restore peace and justice in Palestine, in Sudan, in Congo, in Bangladesh, in Tigray, in East Turkestan, in Kashmir, in Syria, in Puerto Rico, and in all of our occupied lands. We have a duty to keep going for all those who came before us, who were killed simply for wanting to see a free Palestine. Shame. We will continue to renew our commitment to the struggle and give glory to all our martyrs. We remain steadfast for them, for all the prisoners brutally tortured and murdered, for all those who lost their lives, whether by a bullet or were burned alive in a tent or directly targeted by an airstrike, for every parent, grandparent who lost a child, for every woman that became a widow, for every child who became an orphan. We will not let them be erased or die in vain. We declare that every life taken away is a life too many. And for every life lost, 100 more rise and resist. Because 75 years of occupation and the people of Gaza are as resilient as ever, proving that for years Israel has occupied their lands, but not for a second did they occupy their hearts. 75 years from when my Sudanese great-grandfather was killed fighting for Palestine. 75 years later, and I, his granddaughter, is carrying on the mission of liberating Palestine. So we stand today to vow to never rest, to not pause. We will keep fighting and resisting. History will testify to our mobilization and victory, as it will testify to their tyranny and their cowardly defeat. We must continue to strive until we make it clear to their crumbling colonial entity to keep their hands off Gaza, and that we're taking back all occupied territories.